some of the things you should know is that this stuff is very toxic, and this is the activator for polyester resin is MEKP, methyl ethyl ketone peroxide, some of the most flammable stuff I've ever worked with. Um, Very low ignition point. You don't want to be around any spark or flame with this stuff. You really need to be indoors in a controlled environment with a fume respirator. That means the mask with the filters that filter out fumes, not just dust. Um, can cause severe brain damage. So you don't want to be out here without proper protection, safety gear, safety glasses. Um, Nitrile gloves work best because this stuff can eat right through latex gloves. Sometimes gets hot when you mix it, especially the way I mix it. And then the next thing is that you want to have very precise measurements because a little too much hardener and it hardens so fast you can't work with it, or it even catch on fire if you put too much, and not enough and it just won't harden at all. And once you mix it, it's done. So make sure preparation. Ideally you want a mixing bucket. This is a plastic paint bucket that I've peeled all the paint off of the inside, but ideally you want, like, an empty milk jug works pretty good. You cut the top off, the bottom's flexible, and the reason why I like those is because once it hardens you can bend the plastic and it just peels. It just makes a dent in the resin and you can peel the resin out while it's still, once it's hardened but still soft enough to peel. This stuff hardens within, say, 20 minutes of mixing, 15-20 minutes, so you want to work with small batches. But it takes actually several days to fully cure into a hard casing, like glass hard. So it'll still be flexible like rubbery for quite some time after it hardens, but you won't be able to work it. And most people will use a metal roller that's made for rolling it in. One of the big key things is when this cloth gets wet, it starts turning clear. You can see through it. Now, if you see any white streaks, that means you don't have full saturation. There are little air bubbles in it, so you want to keep working it. And you'll take the brush and tap in those areas until the white spots go away completely, or you roll it out with a roller. I'm not using a roller because I just don't have, there's a lot of things. I mean, I could get a roller, but I find that I spend more time cleaning the tools than I do actually working the fiberglass, and I really don't get much better saturation with the roller than I do with the tap and brush. You don't want to, once you get this cloth wet, you don't want to be brushing with the brush. So actually I need to turn this over to cloth inside out because the mesh will, the glass fibers will peel a lot. So you can spread the resin around with the brush, but you really don't want to be brushing the cloth. You want to mostly be tapping the cloth and pushing resin around like a squeegee style, but very little brushing on the cloth itself unless you actually want to move some mesh from one area to another, like something of that nature. So anyway, that's where we're at with that, and until the next segment, we will piece this together, hopefully all into one video before I post it. So on to the next segment.